Greetings, my name is Slight, and welcome to a over-explain on Vanessa. We have recently had a really nice new patch in a lot of ways. I feel like the monetization is in a really good spot, which is wonderful because I love the game so much. It's good to see that it's in a position where I feel happy to spend money on the game, and really good to be in that position. Now, one thing I want to call out is, very early on, is that I haven't unlocked the gang yet. I haven't been spending the money on the actual prize pass. I've just been buying the subscription. For me, it's not been important to do these skip tiers thing here, mostly because I've just been playing a lot of Mak. That being said, that puts me in a good position to teach you how to beat Mak with Vanessa. Vanessa's very well positioned right now. She's a very strong character, and you should not feel bad about having to play Vanessa. You're going to get a lot of wins playing this lady, and I'm going to show you how. Real quick, let's go over some of the big changes in the patch notes. So I just wanted to call out some of the main things that you should be looking for now that the new patch is out. One is that Cannonade is a lot stronger. You can get it earlier, but most importantly, the top level, like the diamond version of this, is quite a bit more damage than it was before. Catfish is extremely strong early game, with significant changes to how much poison it's gained. Now, this has been hotfixed back down. I think it's 2, 4, 8, 10 now or something like that, so it's not quite as strong. Katana here is another one that should be on your radar. This is a very strong item, and it is back as one of the best items for the one weapon build because it actually maintains that 2-second cooldown. Lockbox is a lot stronger than it is. Basically tripling the scaling on this on lockbox means that like an early lockbox can actually be quite strong, and it will be in either an economy engine or could be something that stays on your board through the whole run if you're doing very well. This 1-second cooldown on Narwhal actually means that you can play this item. Repeater here is a big call out. Just had a really good run on ammo Vanessa, and now Repeater is almost good enough as an ammo payoff. I didn't quite make it to 10 wins because I didn't quite get enough of a synergy with the ammo build, but Repeater did a lot of damage. Very strong. Shark Claws is probably one of the biggest things you should take note of. Shark Claws is extremely strong. If we get one of those, we'll be in a really good spot. And Wanted Poster is a lot weaker than it used to be. That doesn't make it weak. It just was literally one of the best items in the game. And now it is a great item as opposed to maybe the best item in the game. So with that being said, that gives us an overview of kind of those patch note changes. If you're interested in all this information I have here, this is howbazaar.gg, and let's jump into the game. So, how do you beat Mak? Mak is scary. He's got a couple builds that are a little overpowered, but not too many. I would say Vat of Acid is probably the hardest build to beat, because like 7 seconds in, usually you've got 500 burn on you, and that can be pretty tough for a Vanessa to deal with. Let me just take this down real quick. But the big thing is that Vanessa's way stronger than Mak in the early game. Mak really does not have a very strong early game. He really relies on opponents who are not being very aggressive, which gives him time to get, onesie twosies of regen. And then once he's got like 12 regen, if someone's petering out, he ends up outlasting them, right? That's probably one of the main ways that Mak, on average, is sort of winning these early game fights. Otherwise, he's just like applying a good amount of poison or burn. That being said, he's still not the best at doing that in the early game. Mak really he's a pretty slow character in fights and a slow character to kind of build up. So every fight you do win early as Mak is really important. But what it means is Vanessa's, we are the arbiters of whether Maks make it into the late game with the right amount of wins, because we should stomp them just like we stomp Vipers in the first fight. So in general, while this enchanted item is a little bit better now that it gives more gold, and incoming gold is definitely not bad. I think on average, I'm really finding that Vanessa starting with a gold skill is really, really strong. This is not ideal. We really pretty much never want to take the shielding because we want to stay on the aggro. We want to be the aggressors in this early game situation, especially with everyone playing Mak. He's got a measly 200 health, and so we should squish him. The question here is between Burn and Kenai. Kenai's good because it's good all the time, right? One of the things I don't like about Kenai is that there's a lot of monsters that have a certain level of Kenai, and this makes sense, right, from a design perspective, because like the devs are like, we need to add a little bit of crit so that not every fight is, you know, deterministic. So give all these monsters Kenai, right? Because it's going to work with anything. But then it means that, you know, you can't get those rewards. And so, like, yeah, Kenai's good. It's very flexible, but then you might just get a silver Kenai naturally through the game. So is that enough to not take it? I'm not sure, but let's go with the Immolating Spark here. We'll try that out. All right. So we've got Small Non-Weapon, Jungle Ruins, or Colt. We could go to Jungle Ruins and take Vanessa's free silver tier item, but I think I'm happy to go to Colt. He may give me a Pop Snappers, which would be great, but I would be willing to take something like a cannon here in the case that that's not an option. And we can just buy him out, and you know, this is quite a bit of damage. So the total damage we're looking at here is 80 plus 80 plus 50. 160, so that's already above 200 and doesn't account for the burn. And the burn damage that we're doing here is 10, which the total burn we will do is, you can think of burn as pairs of numbers. So that's 10 plus 1 is 11, right? 2 plus 9 is 11. So that means that's 5 pairs of 11, which is 55 damage. So about 300 damage we're sitting on the board right now, which feels great. We could go to Pyro here because we could get a lighter, or even a burn loot, or his skill would all be really good. Viper's good because A, we're going to stomp him. We're not scared of a Viper. We're doing a lot of damage here. And we could get his Fang, which is often very strong on Vanessa and something that you always kind of want to be going for. But because we have this burn synergy and because I'd love a lighter, I'm going to go to Pyro. The big thing about lighter here is I think it has, yeah, that 3-second cooldown is what's really valuable here. And getting that 3-second cooldown would be really, really nice for us. See ya. Alright, fiery or the lighter is kind of what we're looking for. I really do not think cannon's a very strong item, so there we go. Love that. Now here, I really want consistent damage. So I'm going to do like this, lighter. I'm going to take this out because, yes, grenade is a great item. And I think grenade is better than both of these items. But the fact that I'm really only one ammo, and then I would really be hoping for that crit, it's just not quite enough. So for us to get the experience from Tiny Furry Monster, we need a food, a toy, or a friend. We have none of those. So it's not very strong to go to Tiny Furry Monster. We can get a silver tier loot, which is not bad. And so the option is one region, or we could see maybe one item from JJ. So in this case, I think that I will go to the Tiny Furry Monster. I wish this was 50 health. I would probably take it here instead of a silver loot, but we'll take the silver loot and see what we get. We did not get a good one. Alas. Whoa. Don't really care about medium items. Strange Mushroom could be fine. $3. Not terrible. The nice thing about spare change is if we find a Valpec or a Barcoon, these things sell for double gold, essentially. They plus 1 gold, which ends up being double gold. And because we don't have a lot of money, I'm actually considering the spare change here pretty heavily. And I think I will do that. And the main thing here for me is that I want to wait to get value out of these. Waiting for the right time to sell these. If I end up going to a merchant and there's a really critical item there, well then, heck yes, I'll go ahead and sell my things. But other than that, I'm really looking for a very specific payoff. So this guy has 200 health. I'll be very surprised if he survives for very long. And that is the main thing that you should take away from the early game when you're fighting Maks. And he's dead. And this is what Vanessa can do to every Mak. Like, I didn't need this lighter. I could have had that, you know, what I had before, right? I could still just have... I hate that I can't open my stash anymore, now that they've changed the way that this works. Hate's a strong word. I'm mildly irked by it. But, wish I could open my stash right there. But even if I had, you know, this setup, which I got from the first vendor, I would still have killed that Mak, which is important to call out. Alright. Jungle Ruins, invest in yourself, or Kina. So, Kina could be good. You know, we could get a powder horn. We could get a cannonball. A lot of items that would be immediately useful for us. We could also go to Jungle Ruins and get a free silver item. But I do think taking 1 income on day 2 is really nice. So I am perfectly happy to see that. Get bronze skills. There's Keen Eye. And again, you know, I could take Keen Eye, but you know, it's also like, what am I going to end up using? Keen Eye is fine, but certainly not particularly inspiring. Arms Dealer here is not terrible. You know, if I get 200, 300 health over the course of the next couple days, that ends up being quite a lot. And if I, like, having a little bit more health than other people ends up mattering a lot in this particular meta. Health actually is pretty important these days. So what do I want to do? I'm going to be buying more items, more weapons most likely. So let's try this. That little bit of health actually might matter quite a bit. I do have 1 food now, which is critical. For me to actually level up to level 3 before the end of day 3, I need 1 experience, and I can get that right now from Tiny Furry Monster because I have this truffles here, which is food. If I didn't have it, I couldn't get it, which means I couldn't level up, which means that my chance of winning on day 2 is actually quite a bit reduced. So this can come back on our board. We'll throw this on our board. Because we have this lighter here that's doing burn scaling, we can beat Rogue Scrapper. So with 7 burn, that is... Oh, don't slow that. Come on. You can slow anything. Don't slow that. With 7 burn, that's already enough for us to start increasing and scaling burn. Because over 3 seconds, we lose 6 burn. So because we're doing 7, we're already always adding 1 more. And so 7 is actually a very critical amount of burn on lighter to be applying, because it means we'll always be slightly increasing the burn that we're doing, and it will be enough to tick out the Rogue Scrapper here. If we had 6 here, we would only maintain, and we would do a lot less damage. And hopefully that makes sense, right? So burn ticks every 0.5 seconds. So within 3 seconds, we've applied 7 burn, which means burn reduces every tick of 0.5 seconds, right? And so during that time, we lose 6 burn, but because we're applying 7, that number always goes up by 1 more. What you'll see is you'll apply 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then right when it hits 1, it'll jump to 8. And then right when it hits 2, it'll jump to 9, because we're applying that 7 burn over 3 seconds. Assuming there's no slows and stuff, right? Nice, that's a great item for us. And right now, so I think a lot of people might make the mistake of just selling this immediately, but I don't have anything to put on my board yet, so I'm holding. Very lucky here to get Mountain Pass, but it is a tough choice between Ayla and Mountain Pass. Mountain Pass is really good right now because I can get the income, and getting this income on day 2 from the Mountain Pass is extremely strong. Especially for Vanessa, who tends to have a little bit of a struggle with economy as the game goes on, especially if you don't have an early cove, and probably maybe an early, what is the item that got changed? The chest. Oh no. I forgot what it's called. We just talked about it, but maybe that will actually do it as well. Another reason maybe I'm considering Ayla is because I want to get the value out of this arms dealer, right? You know, and I haven't really been able to do that yet. I've only gotten 20 health from it, from beating the Rogue Scrapper. That being said, as much as I hate to have to choose between these, I really think that I'm already in a decent position to win on the end of day 3 because I'm leveling up. And so I'm going to make the choice to push for my better long-term position and take the income. Oh, nice. This is new. I love this art. This is great. Look at the little details of like the sea foam, you know, and the seaweed in this bucket here. I love all that stuff. Makes it look really nice. Okay, we have Lick It, Aquatic Item, or JJ. We're sitting on all this stuff and the Junkyard Club here. I'm not really sold on any of the items I currently have, and I'm about to have 1, 2, 3 more spots, so I think we go to JJ. Sweet. We take the star chart here. The reason we take star chart is because if you get the dock events, there's a special reward if you have the star chart of 5 gold and 1 experience, which is a great way to skyrocket your experience on Vanessa. Happy to take Pet Rock here. That'll just give us a friend and add some baseline crit chance to all of our weapons. And I will re-roll here because I am here. So let's see if I can find something else that I can use. Unfortunately, didn't get anything good. So me not selling this Junkyard Club is going to be really nice because I can throw it on my board. And that is on average going to be more damage than just selling it. Yeah. That's 6 damage per second. And it doesn't have ammo, so it might also finish out the fight. Very nice. So one of the great things about playing Weapon Vanessa is sometimes you do get lucky, all right? And you get Forged Fortune here as one of your early levels. And because you just have a bunch of junk weapons, you get it to cash in for a bunch of money. Definitely the pick here. You really can't skip something like that. And now I'm going to be moving into day 3 with $20, and I'd like you to take a self-assessment on your runs and see how much money you end up on day 3, because I bet you're not ending up with 20 bucks on average. But a lot of the decisions we've made up to this point have allowed us to do that, and that's going to give us a huge amount of flexibility to kind of go to every single shop and really build up our position on the next day. Oh, this guy's got a pretty good build. Yes, I forgot that duct tape had its text changed. This guy's using the new catfish here. We'll see if it's enough. The shielding that he's doing is really tough for me to beat because it's very good against my burning, but my burning is scaling up pretty nicely. I do think I'm going to be able to get one more hit on Junkyard Club. Oh, no, I won't. Yeah, just too much poison there. The shielding that he has was shielded jellyfish here. And he's got the duct tape and pearl. A little too much. Very, very nice build for where he's at in the game. Happy to lose to that Vanessa. And you know, you might make the case like, did I just trade a win for this income that I have? And I very well may have. And that's unfortunate, but you know, you do have to take those chances, right? Alright, so I don't want an aquatic item. I really don't want gumballs. Let's see what small items Andy's got. Cool. I'll take 1 extra burn on this. I think I will also take this ice pick. It's gotten a lot better. And if I can find any freeze item, it ends up actually scaling quite a lot. It's probably worth it for me to take silencer here. Now, one thing I want to call out is that notice how liberal I can be with my purchases because of the economy that I've set myself up with. I can now float a potential 1 weapon build, whereas if I was strapped for cash, you know, I'd have to just buy whatever fit in my build, you know, and that's not the life we're living right now. You know, I want to be able to buy kind of whatever I want, and whatever's going to be groovy, it makes a big difference that I'm able to do that because of the economy that I've set myself up with. Also, buying all these weapons is charging up arms dealer, which is quite strong. I really do not care about cannon, but again, there's no reason to sell it immediately. I think I will buy or Jite, I think is Someone told me how to pronounce this. Maybe I've immediately forgotten, unfortunately. But I also will take Shoe Blade. I think, honestly, for the damage it does, and with a 40% crit with the Pet Rock here, it's actually pretty decent. I'm happy to take that. And I get 20 health for buying it. There's a case to be made for Honing Steel here, but I'm okay skipping it. I gotta sneeze 1 sec. Honing Steel is a little bit better on the days before today. It could be fine still, but if I had like a katana or something that was using a lot of uses with low damage, I would be more interested in katana. But as it stands, I don't think it's particularly necessary. So I'm going to go ahead and sell this cannon. I wanted to make sure I saw the next set of options here before I did anything. Actually, well, they made some changes to the way that items regenerate. So this may not be true. It used to be the case that, like, you know, you could kind of reduce the chance to some degree of getting a cannon by having it on your board. Yeah, I think I'm a little mistaken on how that would apply to the situation. So ignore that. But what I'm going to do is sell this and then sell this so I get the extra money from it. And we are going to go to Mattel. There's quite a few things that I would be interested in getting here. One of which would absolutely be this figurehead, which I think is pretty strong. I'll take this out, put this in. Yeah, that figurehead's very good. We can go ahead and sell this to give everything damage. And then throw this on the board. And now we've got a nice bit of damage on all of our items here. And we still have a decent amount of money just laying around. I am pretty tempted to roll again because I would really love a dock lines or something, because that would scale this JIT up really nicely, because right now I pretty much just have bolas. But I think I'm okay skipping for now. I just don't want to spend my money and force myself into a position where I kind of lose the opportunity to sell these for extra money. Scout Trooper's pretty hard these days, but I do have quite a bit of health from my arms dealer, which will be very helpful for beating Scout Trooper. That being said, you can always go for a Fiery Cutlass in pretty much every run, so I think I will, just because there's some risk to losing to the Scout Trooper there. But getting a Sharpening Stone or Fiery Cutlass or even these Cinders would all be very good. I'd take a bar of gold. As long as I don't get Flame Dancer, you know, I think I'm in an okay spot. I do think that I could have beaten the Scout Trooper, but it's a little risky when you're playing against him. Ah, that's the worst one. I mean, I'll take it, but it's not what I was hoping for. So, Mandala would transform my item into something new. That's really not very helpful for me. 4 gold, also not that helpful. I have money enough to purchase stuff, and so, in my mind, I want to see items. I'm a simple man. Butterfly Swords is not bad. Not bad, but not great either. Certainly leaves quite a bit to be desired. You know, sure, we run out of ammo on this, but at least it scales the JIT. I think I'll reroll. Alright, this is a little bit better on average. We can do a little bit more JIT scaling. This scales itself. I'll go ahead and sell the bar of gold, and then I'll just... Is this aquatic? No. Weapon and tool. So I actually do want this ambergris as well, mostly because sometimes you just get intermittent aquatic items from rewards and stuff. So having the ability to take some economy on that is really nice. And ba-boom! You know, I'd obviously love to go to Nufu, but I'm totally out of money. And Valpak here really is a great value for what we're trying to do. So boom, I can sell this and this and this, and I can even sell that. And I do know that I am going to have 2 extra spots on my board here in just a second. So I can spend this money, and improve my board significantly. And now, Electric Eels is pretty interesting. So it's how much? 12. Oh shit, I should have thought about that a little bit more. It'll take up 3 spots. I think it's pretty good though. So I could sell this. So I need to sell $10 worth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The big thing here with Eels is that it got a cooldown reduction and a damage boost, so it's actually pretty good right out the gate. And it's pretty good with Jit here, which also got a damage boost and a scaling boost. So I know I'm not going to use Silencer, pretty much. I feel comfortable selling that. I'd love to keep Star Chart. I'd rather sell 2 of these things. But that's not enough, is it, to get to 12? I'd have to sell these 3 things to get to 12. I think that's the best move. So that didn't work out perfectly for me. I think I could have done that slightly more efficiently. But this way I keep the Star Chart. So I'm not giving up anything that's too terrible. So I can kind of gain some of that economy back by going to dock events. Upgrade a bronze tier. I don't have any bronze tiers, so let's take any bronze tiers that I would actually field. And this is great. So nice. We can actually add some damage to our eels here, which will improve the effectiveness of our eels significantly. And I am excited to do that. And we'll put these like this, just so our opponent knows exactly that we are at level 4. Nice. I feel pretty strong. I feel pretty well positioned for this fight. We've got a lot of slow, a lot of disruption, and good damage, and we are way ahead in health because we have purchased so many weapons. So this early arms dealer is, I think, an underrated item, or underrated skill, and we get to kind of show off the usage here pretty nicely. I like this setup right now because we have a lot of disruption and we have this sort of natural scaling just with lighter. Like, lighter is just going to add up burn throughout the fight, and like everything else we're doing is totally different. That feels pretty strong, pretty hard to deal with. Alright, love seeing a mountain pass here. You know, there's nothing on our board that's super important to go to Curio for. Like, you could say that, okay, getting extra slow here on Electric Eels is a big deal. And it is, but, you know, if I had a Clamora right now, I would probably go to Curio. Because every opportunity to increase the actual slow duration on my Clamora is super valuable. But with an Electric Eels, you know, once this gets leveled up and it has like charge 3 seconds whenever your enemy uses an item, we're slowing plenty, right? We don't necessarily need that slow amount to go much higher. So happy to go to Mountain Pass and try to escort the convoy. And we got a treasure chest. Alas, what can you do? Thank you for the sniper rifle, treasure chest. Alright, so we have the docks here. Again, we're having to decide between things we really don't want to decide between. But I feel okay with what's on my board. I'd kind of be more interested in something like a dock lines than kind of just some rando weapons. So I think we'll go ahead and go to the docks. We'll cash in on this special work as a navigator and keep moving our experience advantage forward. Do we do enough damage to Flame Juggler? I think we do. Flame Juggler does 666 damage out of the gate. And because we have plenty of health, you know, you're not often at 750 health when you're fighting this guy. I feel pretty comfortable with attacking him. That might have been a mistake, though. We'll see. His stuff will fall off here. But yeah, the fact that he hit Burst of Flame, I think we did make a mistake. The big thing that I failed to think about before taking on this fight was that he doesn't use many items, which makes Electric Eels a lot worse. And so that was a mistake. And a big one. So we will be having to claw back from that for quite a while. Unfortunate. Unfortunate indeed. The 666 does not include the 10 that he adds in the middle of your health. You know, without any heal or any shield, that was a foolish decision. So learn from me, and don't do what I do in that case. That being said, we are rewarded by Reynad himself has come in and said, you know what, you made a mistake, but we're going to help you out. We're going to give you a dock lines. How about that? And I super appreciate that. Thank you, Reynad. And a mantis shrimp here is actually super interesting. Another way to scale off of slow, is that better than lighter? And I actually think it is. Considering what we're doing here, I think this is a very interesting thing to get picked up. And I don't need the damage. I want that cooldown reduction from Figurehead here. And like so, we get that cooldown reduction on dock lines as well. And we have a very unique slow build that's actually utilizing quite a few things that were buffed in this patch. So I've got some decent money. I don't have any bronze items I can upgrade. So I could take a burn item here, or I could try to get some more small items. I think I have 3 small items that I could upgrade. I think we'll go here. Nothing particularly exciting there. I'll sell my shoe blade and roll again. And is dive weights very good? No. You know, I'd love to see a Clamora, but looks like that's not happening. You know, grappling hook is definitely the weakest item that we have here. And I think we're in a decent position for this fight. So let's fight Mak. So we've got quite a bit of physical damage coming out, quite a bit of slow. Looks like we've got a candles build, with toxic. Strong build from him. One of the things that's interesting there, potion did not charge my electric eels when it used itself. When it was used. All right. Well, I was literally going to talk about how a lot of Mak's items have this sort of do something early effect, they turn into something, and that ends up making them pretty easy to take advantage of for Electric Eels here. That being said, obviously, having this as a toxic gold candles this early in the game is really tough to beat. That's really strong, and so I don't doubt that we would lose that fight. That's a lot of burn and a lot of poison to be applying this early in the fight. He pretty much didn't do anything else. It was really just what that did. But I do want to watch that one more time. Potion goes off. Does not charge Electric Eels here, which is a pretty big deal. He does have quite a bit of regen. You know, we're scaling up pretty nicely, but yeah, that burn and poison that he's put on us was just a lot. I'm going to watch it one more time. Just really trying to make sure I understand what I'm seeing here. And one thing here is, why is my health like this? Doesn't it seem like I am missing health for some reason? I'm not sure exactly why that is the case. $970, right? So, one more time. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing something here. So I replay. Boom. Immediate 770. Why is that happening? Yeah. This fight is bugged. I don't know if I should be losing this fight. I died really quickly. I mean, sure, but and maybe I'd still die here, but I think I'd have another like 2 seconds in the fight if I had 200 extra health, and I had no, the 1 second on here isn't going to be the biggest deal, but that seemed like a bugged fight. I was a bit confused there. Maybe I'm missing something, so if you see something that I'm missing, just let me know. Tempering's great here, very strong with Electric Eels, so happy to take Tempering. Getting Electric Eels up to gold will be a massive boost for our damage, like a huge boost. So I'm pretty excited for that. Burn on this isn't really very nice. The biggest thing that we want is, you know, slow scaling, right? The more slows we can do, the better this Mantis Shrimp's going to be. Kev's Armory, we could get a Cove here, which would be pretty strong, but I think I'd rather just go to Aerodome and maybe click this once or twice and see what we get. Sure, I'll go to Ayla. Do I care about upgrading Grappling Hook? It's pretty mid. I don't think I like a Grappling Hook very much. I think I would not like to use my money on it, so I'll skip it. Right now, it's just a slow item. I will take a Bronze Shovel, just because if I get a B1, B2, that'll be something I can use that event on, and upgrading that Bronze Shovel is actually quite nice. We get Ayla again, or the docks. Again, we're having to choose between kind of two things we'd like to pick. We'd really like to pick Ayla here, so we can find a weapon that we can put on our board that we'd really like. But because we're low on money, let's take that Dock Lines event. Here, Sabertooth actually not a bad option. Sabertooth has Diamond Fangs and Shiny Fangs, which would both be very strong for us. I'd be happy to put those on my board. And Diamond Fangs here could be one of the best late game skills in the game, because it just absolutely supercharges your small items. That being said, Augmented Weaponry from Trashtown Mayor is just one of the best items in the game, one of the best skills in the game, excuse me, this one right here. And so if we get an opportunity to get that, we should usually take that. I'd also be happy to take the Sharpening Stone, but let's see what we got. Yeah, Jit is scaling up pretty nicely. I'd love to get an upgrade on Jit, and I mean, all my items right now are really strong with upgrades. Really, really strong. And this went to 107 from 95, so that's quite a bit of scaling just from tempering. Love to see that. Alright, we missed our opportunity there, which is okay. Mandala is not something that we really use. I really do not like seeing this as much as I see it. This is only good on Mak, really. I mean, I don't want to transform any of these items, I don't think. I mean, so maybe that's a maybe I like transforming this lighter is good. You know, maybe it is, because then you just get a random gold item, but I'm pretty much always going to go to Curio here instead of doing that, because I'm not getting any benefit, really, from that option. Whereas like Mak, because you're like, anytime you transform something, you end up getting a significant benefit from it. It's, you know, kind of interesting. Alright, we'll buy all these. I'm going to sell the lighter. It's finally gone. And we'll buy this as well. And then we'll sell this so that everything gains sell value. What do I want to reduce the cooldown of? So, Eels is kind of a weird one, right? Because, like, once it's gold, you kind of want it at, like, 3.2, you know? Or 3.4. And when that's when it's diamond. When it's gold, I mean, you kind of want it at, like, 4.8 or 4.4, which is really hard to get down to. So it's, like, because this already has such a high charge amount, it's, like, usually not worth, really, to reduce the cooldown of this very much. You know, that being said, does that change with Figurehead? I don't know. But I think that I'm just going to try to make Dock Lines fire even more. You could say Mantis Shrimp's also worthy of a cooldown reduction, because it has such a high cooldown. Let's try that. Let's see how that feels. down to 7.9. I bought these because I knew I was going to sell them, and they give me HP. So, happy to take those for the HP. Same thing here. Not here, though. It's too expensive. Happy to take this. Happy to take this. And happy to take that for the health. And then we will use these to buff up the eels and sell those. Although, honestly, I should probably just keep those items that I just sold, just in case that next is a Barcoon or a Valpak or something. Again, Forged Fortune shows its face, and I'm happy to take 10 gold, just because we have some weapons that we're actually fielding. Regen's nice. Finn's Big Bite is pretty good, and if I had no money, I'd be pretty happy to see this. Because we've gained so much health from Arms Dealer, I actually would gain a comparatively better value from Finn's Big Bite because it's percentage health increase. But because I have money, let's go to JJ. Cool, nothing really I want, but I'll click Disguise just to see if it gives me something I want. Sure. That is why you click Disguise, and that's why I've got it at the top of the nothing better, because you can just kind of roll for an extra item, see what you get. Interesting. Shark Claws here is really strong. Really, really strong. It might even be better than Figurehead. It's certainly better than this. Is it better than Manta Shrimp? Now that's an interesting question. Like, you could do this and have Shark Claws on the left. And that's just going to scale up that damage. Crazy. I mean, it's kind of a bummer, but like Manta Shrimp isn't like the best scaling option here. Let's try this. I think this is better. I can't really afford these two. I actually am, there's a chance we go into a one weapon Electric Eel, so I am going to click Silencer because we could use like Aquatic plus Figurehead plus Silencer to get a like super fast firing Electric Eel, so I will click that just in case. But I think this is pretty good. Shark Claws this is the first time I've gotten a chance to use Shark Claws, so I think it's super strong, but let's see here. Let's see how it plays out. So notice this health differential between us, and this is with me not playing perfectly. Wow, he got a good snipe there. That's probably the best one he could get. But you know what? I think we've still got a good chance here. Doing some nice scaling. Yeah, pretty easy for us to just win here. Our damage scaled up a lot. Shark Claws felt pretty good. You know, basically it added 80 damage to every single weapon on my side of the board, which is a lot. It's a lot of damage. And then with the tempering scaling there too, feel pretty good about that. Feel pretty good about that. Don't care about that. Could sell items, but I have to make up for that experience deficit from earlier. The main thing that I'm moving toward is I want to be level 10 by the end of day 8, and right now I'm a little bit behind that trajectory. Eating contest here actually is worse because I know that I saw Barcoon last. So now half of the payoffs of getting these bronze chocolate bars is gone, because ideally you get the chocolate bars early in a day and then sell them for $1 to either Valpak or Barcoon. But because I've seen Barcoon, this is worse. So that's an even more reason to go to Goldie here. Don't want to use any of those. I have the money, and getting a good gold item here could be a big deal. So I am going to spend 6 to reroll. And we got another Figurehead, which is very weird that this is the way the game works now. I will buy that. And I think I'll just go ahead and sell this. So they do stack, right? So let's just see what this looks like. If I do this, 3.5. It's very close. Very close to that 3. To basically every time the enemy uses an item, this would go off. Very close. Once I do this. So yeah, just with an upgrade on either of these two things. And over here, it just does a crazy amount of damage. What a weird, weird situation. So what's the play then? Is it this? I think it's this. Mega reduced dock lines. Mega slow. We really want an upgrade on eels now. But that's a lot of damage. I feel okay about that. We got something weird going on. But I don't think it's bad. Which is important. So, Dire Mosquito does have a really strong skill for slow builds. When you slow, haste a weapon 1 second. That is super strong for us. And worthy of consideration. That being said, Loan Shark is also quite good for us. Because it has more experience, which we need. And Crashing Waves here is quite good, as well as a Shark Claws upgrade. So I think I will go here just because I really want that experience. But if I was more ahead on experience, I might go for the Mosquito. With the Shark Claws upgrade, by the way, this character is way scarier than he used to be. Just so that we're all on the same page, this guy is a spooky guy to fight. He does a lot more damage than he used to do. And I actually might lose here, just because of that scaling being so high, and the fact that he doesn't really use a lot of items. We'll see if Jit can save me. It cannot. So another mistake. You know, this is not the character that I really want to be fighting, because he does high damage with low attacks. And I haven't got that eel upgrade. So right now I'm really not using eels very much. So I think I'll actually do a little tweak here for now, because I think this will just be slightly better. I could take some free damage, but you know, the most important thing here is that I get an upgrade on some of these items. So I'm going to go to JJ. Captain's Wheel is pretty good. Is it better than Shark Claws? I don't think so. I'm kind of relying on that damage scaling right now. Nope, not those ones. Aquatic items. Again, just kind of looking for something like that. So, I need 12. Do I sell my double figurehead? I think I do. I think I do. I've got an upgraded figurehead. The double figurehead is cool, right? But this is a huge upgrade for me. So let's do it. And we can upgrade a silver or lower tier item. Probably dock lines here. You could say Jite is a good one to do too. You could also say Shark Claws is really good, couldn't you? Yeah, maybe it's Shark Claws. Maybe that's just more scaling, right? Let's try that. Because that's 30. Alright, let's see how we're doing. We're using stuff that I'm not as familiar with. But one of the reasons I like eels, and that I haven't voiced up to this point, is that Mak tends to have a lot of item usages, and so Electric Eels ends up being pretty good. You know? Alright, it's close, man. It is close. Do we get the Jit? We do not. We get ticked out right before the Jit would kill. Close fight. He's got a really fast build there. Pretty good against us. Even though we have so much health, it ended up not being enough. Makes me wonder if we've gone down the wrong path here. But we will continue forward, as one does. Alright, $9 in the bank. Ammo, eating contest, or small aquatic item. I think I'm happy to take the eating contest here. We haven't seen a Volpak or a Barcoon, so we might be able to actually get the value off of selling these. 5 gold. Don't have a bronze upgrade that I can really do. And selling weapons. I've really got very little money in the bank. So I think the best thing for me to do here is actually to just take the 5 gold. Ghost Pepper is super hard to kill, by the way. I think that we do pretty good against Treasure Turtle here. Let's try that. With our damage scaling, our Eels is going to get pretty nuts. Ooh, look at this. New art for Bag of Jewels. Looks really nice. I'd be happy with Hunker Down, or Bar of Gold, or the Bag of Jewels would be fine. I'd also take a Clamora. And right now, I think really all we're doing is just scaling up this damage, getting the Eels stronger and stronger. And then Jite is also scaling up quite nicely. You know, this is essentially doing what the silver version... not the silver. This is like essentially a gold one of the previous patch. But yeah, this character is just trying to build up shielding and healing, and we actually are very good against that. Sweet. I'll take some money. Alright, we get a skill upgrade. Tempering would be great. Right-handed would also be really, really strong. I'll hold on to this. There's no need to sell it. I think the skill upgrades are quite good here from Grandmaster. Look at him. He's got shades on. Pretty cool. That being said, Mattel it would be great for us, but I think I will go Grandmaster. Fine. Would have really loved Tempering there. Really, really loved it. Alright, nice. And we get Slowmore Lumbra. Slowmore Lumbra. Which is very good for us. There are a lot of slow skills that would be really nice, especially the ones that scale our damage, like this slow and steady. First 3 times use your rightmost item, charge 1 slow item. That's decent, but I think the damage scaling is pretty nice. I do wish it was a little higher, but we're just going harder and harder into this damage scaling, which feels pretty nice. Alright. So, didn't get anything that we could sell, but let's go to JJ. Not ideal, but, you know, sometimes JJ has what you need. This is a pretty good payoff for all of our slowing. And we have the cooldown reduction on it. What would we do? Maybe something like... remove Jite and have it like this. Is that good? It's pretty good. But I don't know if it's great. Especially because our, like, this is interesting. Alright, 1 second. Alright, I'm back. Tough choices. Tough choices. I think this is pretty good. Especially once we get this upgraded to Diamond and or Enchanted. And when we upgrade dock lines here. And eventually we might have like a Shipwreck and a Clamora or something like that, which would be really strong. 24. I think it's pretty good. The nice thing is we are not so poor that we have to sell quite a lot for us to get the value out of this. Suddenly, the Silencer also becomes relatively interesting. And Star Chart is technically good, I think. Oh, actually, on day 8, you can no longer get the Dock Lines event. So Star Chart can also be sold here so we can re-roll to see if we get something else. So I'll sell that. Also, I got some coffee. Cheers. Oat milk, a little bit of maple syrup. Easy win. We'll reroll. See if we get something else that matters, right? Nothing here is really what we're looking for. I think we got quite a bit stronger today. You know, my hope is that we are not playing against Vat of Acid, and we're playing against something that's a little bit more of a combo-centric, maybe like a potion build. And against those, I think we're going to do really, really well. Because every 2 potions, we get to use this, which is going to charge this. We got quite a bit of slow. And this being at 5.6 is pretty good. You know, 7. This requires 3 charges. 4 technically to go off infinite. but this requires 3 guaranteed. So that's pretty nice. And our charges will be a little bit intermittent, so I think this is pretty good. So let's give it a shot. I don't feel great about this. I do think that we are really relying on being kind of at diamond for our Electric Eels to be really good, but I think this is a good fight for us. I see a lot of items being used as opposed to very few, and I think that's really beneficial for us. Because we have so much charging, I do think that we have a pretty good shot at winning this. We'll see if it works out. He's got a lot of healing, but we do have quite a bit here. It's so close, and we get the win. Nice. And that Mak build's pretty good. Not amazing. Happy to fight someone who's not doing super well. All right, and here we are at 4 wins. Let's see what the future brings us. I did make a slight mistake there. I would have loved to look at the recap because I really want to know what's doing my damage. And I am actually not sure right now because I didn't look at the recap. So kind of a mistake on my part. Small tool, Mandala, or gold tier item. It is interesting to think about Mandala here. Like, what if I transform this into another Electric Eels, right? Like, that's pretty interesting, right? But it could be any large gold item. And I mean, they're not that many. And the question is, do I want to keep playing Lighthouse or not? And that's it's an interesting thought. Let's go to Goldie. Mostly because we just need to go somewhere. And these are not exactly what we're looking for. So I will skip. I'm not going to spend the 6. I don't have the money to just be throwing away. So we'll just do this. 8 regions, not great. Gumballs are fine. But we don't really have a secondary payoff for them. So I'm not too excited to go to them. Let's go to Ayla. See what we see. Wow. There's the Electric Eels, huh? But we have to make a commitment if we're going to do it. The nice thing is I do have this silencer, which kind of makes this Electric Eels potentially even better. But going up to 3 seconds on the charge is really, really strong. To do that, I need to sell 14 worth. So there's 8, 10, 13. That's not enough. Oof. Tough. Which means, what, do I sell a Lighthouse here? Yeah. You know, you gotta make those decisions. And luckily, because we were in a good position with our economy, we were able to keep these items. You know, we weren't sure if we were gonna field these, but now we're back into a position where we can field them again. And you know, that's only because we weren't forced to sell them earlier. You know, if we couldn't buy this Eels right now, that would feel really bad, really, really bad. So very glad that I'm able to purchase this. What's my cooldown if I move here? 4.8. So we would need to get to 3.2. You know, maybe the selling silencer was a mistake there. Maybe I should have sold a JT. But I don't think I'm going to make my goal of getting to level 10 by the end of the day. And if I'm 3 experience off, actually I've lost 2 fights, so no matter what, it is on me for losing those fights. But we should see some really big charges on Electric Eels right now, which is nice. And we should see some really good damage scaling. Like, especially when this pulse rifle goes off, it's just like we do a lot of damage. You love to see that. So 277 feels pretty good. Alright, when you use a weapon, adjacent items gain 8% crit. That's really strong. Silver tier loot, silver tier item, silver tier ammo. We'll take the loot item because it has the most chance of being useful for us. Although that one is unfortunately not particularly useful. We could get this experience here. So it looks like we're going to be 1-2 experience. The way I know how much experience is left in the day is because of these open pips. So I know there's 2 more experience before the end of the day. So we were 6 experience short, which if I had won the 2 fights that I failed, then I would be getting to level 10 right at the end of day 8. but we did lose them. And so if I had taken a weaker fight, then I also wouldn't have made it. So important things to note. That being said, what's best here? I'm also considering, now that we have sharpened steel, like you could do something a little different here, where, you know, I'm trying to give this crit chance, but I don't think we want to get too clever. This triggering, 20% more is pretty nice. So I think I'm happy with that. I think I'll just take the experience. Getting experience is still good. An upgrade on dock lines would be so strong for us. So I think we're going to click this. Even though I think that there is some interesting other ideas. Darkwater anglerfish here is interesting. But I can't say that it would be better than shark claws here. This says when get 2 value. That makes me think that this is not correctly updated for the patch. Right, because Lockbox is supposed to have scaling at gold of 6, and I see 2 here. So I will call that out. We'll re-roll. Getting a dock lines would be huge, and there it is. But we did not think this through. We do not have the money for the dock lines, do we? Interestingly enough, we're 1 short. We'd have to sell the jeté. Is it worth it? It can't be worth it. So we will be sad. We will see this dock lines, and that is something I should have thought about before clicking reroll there. I thought that I had 1 more gold. I did not. And we're up against Simok99, who has died, which is always a terrifying position, but he is not level 10, assuming his level is correct, or their level is correct. So if they're not level 10, that's pretty good for us. Okay. I was a bit worried we were going to be against Fixer Upper, but it looks like this is kind of a freeze scaling build, which I think we're pretty decent against. Mostly because, yeah, oh, that was weird. Oh, yeah, it's only freeze 1 item because he has no properties. Oof. All right, interesting. But he got a lot of shielding just now from Hard Shell, and he actually ends up taking us out. Mostly because of the burn here from luxury kiosks. Alright, he got us. That was a bad build to lose to. We'll get a random enchantment. Crit or a random. I don't want crit. Crit on Electric Eels would just be fine. Looking for something more. Alright, that's a turbo, which is actually pretty good. We really don't have much hasting. So I'm pretty happy with that. And us seeing a Pearl's Dig Site here is quite nice. Have a pretty good opportunity to improve our position. Amber's good enough. I'll pick that. Amber is good enough. Considering we take Shark Claws out, I could see Amber being very useful. Small items. I think getting this upgrade on jeté would actually be a big deal. We're kind of missing another way to scale what we're doing, and that would help us to scale just that, a little bit nicer. We died in 1 hit to Pharaoh's Khan, and we do not kill her before she kills us, but Enclave Revenant is easy money. So we'll take that. Love seeing the haste. Don't love seeing 2. Stop hitting Jit. Stop hitting Jeté. Stop hitting Jeté with haste. Stop, please. So they changed the targeting. It used to be the case that when effects like slow or freeze or haste would go off, it would make sure to target, if like something didn't have haste and something did have haste, it would higher prioritize the things without haste. So now we run into like these unique situations where you can like haste something you don't want to haste because it's already hasted. I do want to check what Figurehead's crit effect is. I can't remember. I think oh, we're on monsters. Your items have 25% crit chance. I mean, that is not bad. Only 25 though. What else is there? A lot of bad ones. Shiny would be good, obviously. Obsidian's very mid. Haste, slow, heavy would be good. Maybe deadly's okay. What else would I do? You could do jeté and then kind of like capture the scaling from that. Turbo on this is fine. Yeah, maybe we just try the crit. Maybe that's just enough. We'll give it a shot. Especially because we're getting more crit from Sharpened Steel here. It may be enough for it to matter. Interesting. Monster Ranch it is. What do you got? Cooldown by 6%. Or all cooldown by 4%. It's probably better. Yeah, we'll just take the feather here. And as always, when you do cooldown reduction in this game, it snapshots its current value and reduces from that. So when you do cooldown reduction, you want to make sure they're at the highest value of the cooldown as possible, then apply the cooldown reduction, and then put your cooldown item back into play. That's going to give you the best bang for your buck as far as your cooldown reduction effects. So we actually are doing decent on money. Health is actually pretty important for us. So I don't mind getting 150 health. But paying 10 for it feels pretty bad at this point in the game. I'll click Kevs, see if we get lucky with something. Interesting. Shielded Shovel's not bad, because everything it would generate would be shielded. We are on Death's Door though, so I'm really looking for something a little bit more impactful, and none of those are it. But it was worth looking. We may actually get knocked out here, and that is the way it goes. But I think it was fun. It would be really nice if I had one more level of dock lines here, but seeing Shark Claws, Jeté, and the Electric Eels upgrade, I do feel like I have a sense of their power level now. And so let's see if we can make it through a couple more fights. Shored Up is really, really strong. He has a very strong little combo here. But, him using a lot of items is actually very good for us. We're very good against this type of build. And his freezes are not very long. So, yeah, I think he's going to have a really hard time beating us. A lot of item usage that kind of builds up over time. Very strong for Electric Eels here. Sweet. I'll take it. I will take it. We get another shot. And Artisan Dunes is pretty good. Battlefield's pretty good. But Nautica could be very good for us. A lot of things we're looking for here. Alright, we tried. And we failed. But there was opportunity. And sometimes that's all you can ask for. Sweet. We'll go to Bazaar Con. The main thing here is sometimes I have been seeing myself taking these two other items if I don't have a clear path yet. But in this case, when I've already kind of got my build, taking 2 experience here is amazing. Very fun. Poison skills, crit skills, or skills unique to Vanessa. We're doing okay on haste. Not great, but okay. I could still see Turbo Electric Eels being something else. I wouldn't mind some more crit. I think that would probably be best. I think I'll take the 12 crit up front. Do I want to reroll for better? No, I don't. I think 12 crit's perfectly reasonable, and no need to get greedy. Property Baron's terrifying for us right now. We do not scale it high enough for it. And we could die in one hit, and we don't really have anything like that keeps us alive. So we're going to go to Master Alchemist here. That is an indication of the strength of our build, that I'm scared to go to those Void Golem and Property Baron. That being said, I don't think that we're terribly positioned against some of the Mak builds and the Dooley builds. We clearly are doing decent damage right here, and our scaling is pretty good. You know, getting some upgrades on what we have is actually going to be a really big deal. So let's see if we can get those. And being at that 37% crit rate feels a lot better. I'd love different options than these. These are all terrible, but maybe we get lucky. There's a case to be made for taking Cove here, but it would be a while before it would pay off as far as its value, and I really need to be playing for the very next fight. So I'm going to hold. None of those. Alright, and we've got one more day here. Gumballs is not bad, but there are two weapons here that I would be very happy to see upgrades for. That would be really, really meaningful. Also, Pet Rock here is nothing to scoff at. Actually, it doesn't work because Electric Eels is a friend, so never mind. Pet Rock is terrible. We'll click this. Maybe we get what we hoped for. We did not. And such is life. I don't think Cannonade really works for us. It's an interesting idea with like the kind of comboing with Electric Eels. And these guys are just not quite strong enough for what we're doing. So here we go. We find ourselves at the brink again. Facing another Dooley though, which I think is actually pretty good for us. Oh, another bug. Alright, this is as good as we're going to do. This isn't going to do anything. You know, there's an opportunity here for Amber eventually. Probably not so much for Rainbow Potion. So, you know, we'll see. We might get knocked out here. We'll see how it goes. Wow, you're so tall. Frozen Flame, interesting. So it looks like we've got kind of a freeze build from him. Luckily, so he's only got kind of like one freeze item and then this one here. And our slows are doing pretty good. Yeah, that's really strong. And so now here's the kicker. Do we kill him like, oh, that freeze here, 100% crit. It wouldn't have mattered. That was 800 damage though on the line. So it ended up being pretty close, but yeah, that 3-second freeze there from the Frozen Flame ended up getting us. Interesting. He actually did not have that many freezes, though. I guess he did a quick freeze and initial chill. Those both actually helped him out quite a lot. 200. We did good damage here. This being silver the whole fight really didn't work out for us. But it was a fun run. I think I learned a lot as far as the power level of these new items. And we'll take the bronze victory, and we'll lick our wounds and continue to improve. Overall, this new sort of slow damage package felt pretty good. I think the big thing with eels is you really need a way to get like the damage high on eels. And it's kind of only good against certain types of builds. And I'll say that Eels is a bit weird in the sense that it slows items, but also wants your enemy to use items. Which is just like an odd combo, right? Like, you want them to use things because then you trigger your effect. But then you make them not trigger as often. So, I think the big thing that I took away from this was less so about like showing you exactly how to stomp Maks. We did talk about that in the beginning of the game, and we did. Every Mak, just about every Mak we saw, we put up a really good fight. We killed the guys earlier, and then there was that one bugged fight, which I don't know if I deserve to lose that fight because it didn't really make sense to me. But overall, I don't know if this Electric Eels slow build is super well positioned, even after the buffs. But it's hard to say. You know, if I had a diamond jeté here and a gold dock lines, how different would that fight go? Because this would have scaled at 3 times the speed it would have scaled. You know, and just not getting an opportunity to upgrade this was not good. Some criticism that I have of my play was losing those 2 fights. You know, those are really good learning opportunities for me with this new patch. Is that the Shark Claws buff makes the Lone Shark a lot stronger than he used to be, and just because you have 750 health does not mean that you can beat the Fire Dancer or whatever he is, the Flame Juggler. Excuse me. Yeah, he's still really strong, and at that point I had Eels, so that was a pretty big mistake. That being said, I'm not going to not upload this. I do think this shows a lot of important things to be considering, especially in the early game as Vanessa when you're fighting a Mak. But what you can learn from this is, you know, if you're going to go for this sort of Eels build, make sure you've got a really high level jeté, I think that's the big thing. This is not the major payoff. The Electric Eels is a secondary payoff to how this slow package of damage is kind of coming together. And we did have some things that were pretty good, but not quite good enough for us to take it all the way. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. If you have any questions, please include a timestamp of the question that you have, and hopefully you learned something. See you in the next one.